Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. We have a beer that Mike said, hey, come over. I think it'll be carbonated by the time you walk over. And in less than 15 minutes, he carbonated this beer. No, that's not how it works. On the walkover. It was instantaneous carbonation, somehow, divine intervention. Got this beer to get bubbled up with a nice head. All right, well, I have no idea what this style is. He's like, well, you know, maybe we'll just pretend it's a different style, which didn't really lead me to be that confident about what this is. So I'm just going to sip. Why don't you get into the recipe? What beer style is this?
So this is the start of me exploring another beer style that isn't amber in color, for a change. I really wanted to play around with American Blonde Ale. Okay. But we can get into it because this looks like a beautiful American hazy pale ale.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous for that sake. So let's just talk about. So here's the recipe. Here's the recipe. Here's the recipe. So this is 88% just American pale malt. This is leftover Valley malt.
Okay.
Pale malt. It's 8% of flaked barley, and I'll explain why I did that in a bit, and just a touch 4% of biscuit malt, just to whatever. So the reason why I went with that is that I don't know if you're familiar with Spotted Cow. So Spotted Cow is it used to be called a cream ale. It's really more viewed now as a blonde ale, whatever, from New Glarus out in Wisconsin.
Yep.
They don't distribute it anywhere. But I've read a lot about that beer. I've had it before, so people brought it back for me in the past. And they used to put flaked barley and whatever. So I've always been intrigued by that idea. So I wanted to try that. So that's why this flaked barley in here is the base. For hopping on this is 60 minutes of nugget, right? To the tune of just about 25 IBUs worth of nugget. And then at flame out, I did this whole batch no chill. At flame out, it's almost half an ounce of Centennial and an ounce of Amarillo Cryo, that batch that I really like in there. So trying to just play together that Centennial and Amarillo in a no chill. So once it's done, I dump that 30-something total grams of hops in there, boom, and seal it up and go to bed. I mashed this at 152 for 75 minutes, so just sort of middle of the road, give me a good long whatever. The water on this is pretty balanced. I did something a little different for the water on this one based on all that other water work. So this is 2.5 gallons. So it's a 3.5 gallon batch total, but I mash in with 5 gallons. So I split the difference 50-50 with my normal spring water that I buy, really soft spring water, and our tap water.
Oh, yep.
I treat it with a little bit of Camden just in case there's chlorine in there. And then I add some gypsum and some lactic acid and magnesium sulfate. That's it. I didn't really do a whole lot here. But the final water profile then is 77 calcium, 9 magnesium, 60 of sodium, 138 of sulfate, and 140 of chloride. Okay. So pretty close. Perfectly balanced. Yep. And then there's a little bit of bicarbonate in there that's coming from the tap water. So 51 ppm of bicarbonate to balance it out. The pH on this, like I said, I add a little lactic acid so to combat that stuff. And so I hit it at 5.2 pH, which is what I wanted. I wanted a little less than 5.4. So excellent. I think beers are brighter. Then I fermented it at 68 degrees for 10 days using the Mangrove Jack Hophead Yeast M66, which is a yeast and enzyme blend favoring hazy beers. I didn't think of that when I used it. I was going for something clean and something that was like fruit forward, but when I was just quickly looking at the script, I was like, oh yeah, a little biotransformation, sounds great. Sure. But then I forgot after the fact that this thing favors being hazy, so that's why it's so hazy.
That's why it's hazy.
So I would like it to be clear. I'd like it to be brutally clear for a blonde ale. That's what I would like. I'm not upset about this, but because it tastes pretty good. So starting gravity was 1048, finished at about 1014 for about just under 4.5% ABV, which is what I was looking for too, is something pale, something hoppy, and something sessionable.
Yep. Well, let's talk about that color. I mean, when I hold it up to the light, it's lighter to my eyes than, when I hold it here.
Yeah.
It's almost orange there.
Yeah.
You know, but I can see that because of the haze, it's making it look a lot darker from a certain point of view.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, so you really think that because of your yeast choice, well, a lot of is it the yeast that's suspended, or is it other stuff?
I think it's what makes the haze the haze. It's a combination of hop polyphenols and maybe a little protein coming from the flaked barley.
I was going to say the flaked barley.
But it's probably not. I don't think that's really a big contributor. I think it's mostly just the yeast, one, still in suspension, being a little bit young, but two, that is designed to make a hazy beer.
Yep, keep it staying.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. And that doesn't sound like a ton of hops. It's like just over an ounce, but it's 3.5 gallons too. And so I wasn't going for certainly wasn't trying to make an IPA or even a pale ale potency wise. I just wanted something that was super drinkable and had a little bit of interest on the nose.
Yep, that's what I'm trying to pick out right now. I'm getting some of that Amarillo cryo.
Yep.
Come through there. It's like it's a nice orange, like just as you open up an orange peel, you know. That's what I smell. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
I definitely get some yeast character on the nose too, from that yeast. I think that yeast strain is something in the English-ish family. The attenuation wasn't huge. I would like it to be a little more attenuated, but that way, if I'd used something like BRY 97 or USO 5, or I probably would have gotten slightly clearer in a drier beer.
Yep.
Not that this doesn't taste dry, but
No, trying to, I mean, just enough malt characteristic for it to, be a beer.
yeah,
Very hop forward.
Yep.
I'm getting a lot of just that, everything that flake barley brings to the party, just softness and like just,
I really enjoy that. That's what I wanted to go for.
That's what you were looking for, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
with all of that, like we said, 8%.
Yep. Yeah, I think the slightly darker color is that valley malting pale malt.
Yeah.
Because it sort of sits in between like a normal American two-row at like 1.8 and a pale ale malt, which would be like 3-ish. It sort of sits somewhere, and you wouldn't think it'd make that much of a difference, but I always found brewing with that valley pale malt, it had a little bit more character to it, which I liked. Maybe not in the blonde ale, but this was the first go at trying to do it. So so this is what it'll be lighter when I use like raw two-row, which is what my base malt in stock now is here.
Is it?
Because I've used up all that valley malt. I bought another 40 pounds of like raw two-row. So that's
Great.
What my next several beers will be.
Excellent. I like, as I do all my smash beers, is raw or two-row.
Yep.
Sounds good. Outside of the interesting visual presentation of it, finishes nice and dry and persistent head. Honestly, I know that you were saying like, I'm going to start carbonating this, 15 minutes before you show up, or like a couple of days. But it's still, it's probably going to settle out real nice, and be a kind of a more refined beer, I think, in a couple of weeks.
I was going for something drinkable, soft, and mildly hop interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's 85% of the way there. I think it's mostly there, right? I'd like it crisper, like a drier. I want to see through it too, just because that's a blonde ale. For me, that's what that means.
Sure.
But I could have just told you and everybody at home that this was hazy pale ale, and you would have been like, "Wow, man, that's freaking great! Look at that thing," So it's right. So it's great.
The tips of doing that.
Just that when you come over in a couple more weeks and I pour you one of these and it's dropped clear, you'll be like, "What happened?"
Exactly. Yeah, maybe that's the key to
I think it's the yeast
color.
choice was the wrong
yeast
idea.
choice and maybe a little bit of a darker pale malt. That's funny.
Yeah, but I also have several yeasts that I usually buy yeast several packets at a time, thinking ahead, and then I look and what's close to probably getting old, and that's what I'll try to use first and fit to a recipe.
Sure.
But this time it was like I really wanted to do this, and that of everything I had, I used all my Cali doing the water experiment thing there, right? So
exactly.
Yep.
All right, so we have to talk about refinements, revisions for next time.
Yeah.
What's your plan?
I think I'll go to a straight American California ale yeast as a base
Yeah.
line for that. The base malt will be lighter anyway because that's what I have now. I think I like where the hops are at. I don't want it more bitter. Maybe I'll just up the Amarillo a little bit more because I've got plenty of it.
Yep.
Just to bring a little bit of that more of the party. We'll see. I mean, we're still in wintertime here, but it is slowly creeping towards warmer days, which means maybe I won't no chill this right? I'll get to because I no chill in the wintertime because I brew beers that works for. I actually think this works pretty good to throw a bunch of to hop burst.
Yep.
At once it stops boiling, you just throw it in and seal it up. I like the way these beers come out by doing that, and it's easy, and I just come back the next day. But now that it is getting nicer, I'll more likely to pull the hose out and use a chiller because I just don't want to do that when it's super cold here.
Seriously, yeah.
Just because trying to get all the water out of the hoses and stuff is a pain in the butt. So I no chill. So,
Nice. Yep.
so I think that's the refinement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, can't wait for the next 14 beers of blonde ales for
Yeah. Strap
you. And then he'll reveal everything
Yep.
in a 30-minute video. All right. Well, take note. This is beer one of many of the next beer adventure with Mike. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.